Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa Rabbil Alameen. Akibatum lil mustaqim. Wala adrana ila wa ala dalimin. Muhammadan huwa Sayyidina Maghbubana. Inhu kana Sayyid Mursaleen. Salawatu Rabbi Taslimatihi alayhi. Hanin salim bikum. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh lil ikhwani wa akhwati fi din. Assalamu ala mani taba huda lil ikhwani wa akhwati fi Afrika wa Europa, Asia wa America wa Caribbean wa kulli makan. How you doing, my dear brothers and sisters, today? Hope that you're doing well and the families are doing well, and that you have prayer in mind. And so hopefully we'll cover something today. This will be the last part of the establishment of the salat, the Muslim, and the establishment of the salat. Here we conclude with something to help the brothers and sisters as well, and also for your education. Because we have to, excuse me, I'm sorry, my dear brothers and sisters here. As usual, I'm always trying to get, yeah, okay. I'm learning. I'm learning. Okay. Concluding the Muslim and the establishment of the Salat, we have started off, remember, establishing the Salat in the house and the man's responsibility. And then we talked about the woman, the Muslimah, establishing the Salat in the house. Then we branched out to the brothers going inside the masjid, and when he's encountering there, the pitfalls that could derail your ajr. You may not derail your salat, but derail your ajr with subhanahu wa ta'ala. And some of the pitfalls of what you see inside the masjids from many Muslims who pray inside of it. Then we went into the recognition, which is now prevalent now, we're strong, devout Muslims, students of knowledge, and the scholars are moving to areas and they're encountering a modern day Masjid Dirar. And I gave you the instances about that as well. And so now we're going to conclude with this about the people who actually make up the Masjid Dirar. And we have to start with the fundamentals of Tawheed and the Aqidah as well. Because we as Muslims are people who follow what Subhanahu wa Ta'ala has ordained. And the Prophet ﷺ has given us the guideline to help to promote Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's deen and also help us to prepare ourselves for the hereafter. And Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, as you know, in the Quran has made it clear that he's not going to there's no compulsion in religion, meaning to become Muslim, or if you're not a Muslim, if you want to stay this way, you suffer the consequences of it. And so we see that. Unfortunately, now in this situation here, we have people who have belied the Aqidah Islamiyah, who have belied Tawheed Hakimiyah and Tawheed Allah. Tawheed Hakimiyah is the governance of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, his Sharia, and Sharia of the Prophet alayhi salatu salam. And so now you should recognize these people and you should know what they are and what to call them. And we'll get into that. So that way you have the impetus, because if you know what these people are, it gives you a barrier between you and them. And this is what you want, because you don't want to be associated with them. You don't have anything to do with them, because their destination, unless they make Toba and subhanahu wa ta'ala restores them, their path is to the fire. You're trying to go to the path of Jannah. So in Islam, we talk about the things that help us, but we also talk about the pitfalls that can derail us to go into Jannah or to occur the wrath of subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we don't want that. So when we deal with people who are enemies to us, we should recognize that, but we should understand why they're enemies to us. And we have to be able to articulate to fellow Muslims, our brothers, who may not be as knowledgeable as you, so you can articulate when you see them going to the Masjid Dirar and you see him coming out with these individuals and you know them for what they are, you can brief your brother to stop him from being influenced by these individuals. And as I said before, Islam, we have a well-rounded education. It's not only just one or two things here and there. It's a well-rounded education, and it takes a lifetime to understand all of it. So let's get started with this, my dear brothers and sisters. We have to go back again, as I've been telling you before, the fundamentals. We have lost sight of that. We have people who come into Islam and they jump right in. I was one of them too, want to jump into the most difficult areas of fiqh and the Sharia and so forth and so on, diagnosing this and that, and yet I could not read the Quran. See, so I'm going back to the basics here of Islam, the Aqidah, and also incorporating Tawheed Allah. So the 6 articles of faith, and you say, well, yeah, I don't understand. You'll understand why we're bringing this up. And just bear with me, my dear brothers and sisters. The 6 articles of faith, and you know, they're self-explanatory. You see them here. The messenger, we put our faith in subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, the angels, the messengers, all of them, what he has revealed, his books, the day of resurrection, and the Qadr, the divine preordainments. Those are the basic. But you notice something, brothers and sisters, as we talk about this right now, those individuals I described to you, I think yesterday, they have a problem with this. You see? Now you understand why I'm after them and why I talk against them and why subhanahu wa ta'ala has talked against them. Why the Prophet ﷺ talked against them. Why did he destroy the Masjid Dirar? If you know the story, he sent the Sahaba, but he made something of wisdom in this, which is, again, he's a Nabi. He's a Nabi. So he told the companions to go to destroy the Masjid Dirar, but don't go to kill the hypocrites in it. He could have, because they were plotting to do away with him. They were plotting with the Romans. They were plotting to get rid of the Muslims. So, but he said, don't kill them. So he said, just go there to destroy this wretched place, the Masjid Dirar. So, my brothers and sisters, when you see this, you understand the basics. Look at the fundamentals here. The people who I describe, look here. You know, without me having to talk, they have a problem here, don't they? If they have a problem in one or more, they're finished. It's with Muslims. And you know these people who I describe have a problem, some with all 6, some with 2 or 3, but they're still out. You can't pick and choose in the Aqidah Islamiyah. You cannot. So let's go into this. There's 2 aspects of disbelief. Kufr Akbar, which again, I'm going back to basics, and please forgive me, brothers and sisters who are knowledgeable. I'm not trying to insult you at all. This is for those who are new or have forgotten the basics, and they have to be brought back up to speed, because we all should have refresher courses. I'm telling you now, I don't care who you are. My teacher told me when I was in Sudan, he said after 60 years, he still he's forgotten something, and he's been refreshed. So there's no harm in that. And the second one, Kufr Al Iba. Now, here we have the basis of what we're talking about, these individuals. The Kufr Akbar is, where you declare, or there's some action that you have taken that is absolutely disgusting. And it will render you outside of Islam. And I'll get more into that. But these two aspects deal with the people of the Masjid Dirar who formed this, who has made their bay'ah upon the disbelievers. And they have said, Sema ata'a, remember in Arabic here, I listen and obey, meaning the command of the disbelievers who are doing this. And we have a name for them. We have a couple of names for them. But if you remember my courses, those who have followed me in the past, we talked about the 4 ranks of disbelievers. Remember, I discussed that. The 4th one is the people who organize, who pay, who construct, and help to finance Masjid Dirar. Here we're talking about people who profess to be Muslims and have left the deen because of actions and their kalam, their words. The men and women who assist the disbelievers in creating and bum rushing. Essentially, I'm using some slang from the hood, but bum rushing a masjid built on piety. Here's one of the names for them, my brothers and sisters, is the Khawarji. And this is what I call these guys out here. The Khawarij form many different branches of it, and they go way back. And if you look at the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, before they were actually formed, there was an incident that they had with one man, and he was wrapped up ready to kill this man. And the Prophet ﷺ stopped him because he wanted to give them a lesson. He said, from this man's loins will come a people. Will come a people that will basically go out away from Sunnah and will cause the Muslims a lot of grief. And the Prophet ﷺ was correct. Because from this man's loins was the creation of the Khawarij, which are still with us today. After almost 1,400 years, they're still with us today. But they have many branches of them. And those who form the Masjid Dirar, who go inside there and who are made the ta'at, okay, remember the obeisances, but the disbelievers are the Khawarij. And some are full-fledged Khawarij. Some have some aspects of them, but they have mixed with other aspects of other different parts of Khawarij, from other different groups of the Khawarij. But this is what they are. They're Khawarij. You don't associate with them. You don't have anything to do with them. You are stern against them. You don't normally pray with them. You don't have any dealings with them whatsoever. You don't even give them salam. Remember the other day I talked about what people, why you don't give salam to certain people? Now I'm giving you some reasons why. These Khawarij who walk on the street, who have nifaq is what we call this. And I'll get into that. We have nifaq. Nifaq means treachery. It's a disguise. They come and they walk into the masjid, and here they're talking in microphones against you, making a report to the disbelievers, to the Tubab governments against you. And then he comes by you and says, Salam alaikum, ya Yahya. I don't respond to them because they're Khawarij. The Khawarij have an infamous history of fighting Muslims and killing them, still to this day. Now, the most famous of the Khawarij who have been deemed Khawarij have been by our scholars and students now are the Mujahideen. Remember, I have to say their name, Dawla Islamiyya. There's, the AQ. There's the Khorasan group. There's I don't even want to use the term, the ones in Tunisia and so forth. Boko Haram. All these type of groups like this have been deemed Khawarij. Because most of their killing, 99% of their killing is who? They kill other Muslims. And some may be wayward, but even if he's a wayward Muslim, you have no right to kill him, because that lays into the hands of the Amir al-Mu'mineen, or the Sultan, and the Qadi who judges him, and then the authorization from this is the way it's supposed to operate under the Khalifa. But since we don't have the Khalifa, you or me have no right to go to a weak Muslim. So we see him smoking, we know he's weak, he may not read. We read the Quran and so forth and so on, right? We know this, but we have no right to go there and kill him. So the Khawarij, the famous ones we know today are the so-called Mujahideen groups that have caused a lot of problems for the Muslims worldwide. And then here's the other part about the Khawarij that are very interesting. They say they're devout Muslims, but yet while aligning themselves with disbelievers. So wait a minute. They say they're devout mu'mineen, but how can you align yourselves with disbelievers who they revere and obey? This is the hypocrisy of the Khawarij. And see, here we're not talking about under the Khalifa where the Muslims have treaties with disbelievers. That's a different situation. Mithaqs, we call them, and Taswiyah. There's other names and different degrees of these agreements with each other or with the disbelievers. That's a difference because we have trade and so forth. We're not aligning ourselves with them so we can revere and obey them. We don't sima ta'a on the amr of no disbeliever. That's the Muslims. We do not do that. We sima ta'a on our leadership in the Islamic world, not upon the disbelievers. Now, I know some who, again, back to fundamentals, some who is working at McDonald's in Los Angeles say, hey, yeah, well, wait a minute here. You trying to tell me my boss, we're not talking about that. You're working. We're not talking about you at a factory and your boss is Jewish, okay? He's a Jew. And and he tells you to go sweep the floor. That's your job, you do it. We're not talking about that. We're talking about things that are disaffect the Muslim Ummah, like the Masjid Dirar. There are many offshoots of the Khawarij. You should study them, brothers, for your education. You should study them. But I caution you on one thing, though. Our scholars and our students now are too top-heavy and heavy-handed on the Mujahideen. They're too much. Because 99.9% what you see in Google and in the YouTube is about the Mujahideen. Why do they leave out the people who assist the disbelievers? They account for more deaths than all the Mujahideen groups put together. And they kill the Muslims softly and in private and in many different ways by turning them into disbelievers and they disappear, or putting them in jail. See? Or having it so disenfranchised they lose their jobs. This is what these Khawarij do. They go, they work and they come, hey, yeah, how you doing, brother? You know, and they get you to have a microphone there and they try to take your conversation so they can turn it over to some Tubac government so they can come after you and put you in jail for 30, 40, 50 years on a conversation. And yet, and still, we have, you have the biker gangs and the Nazis and all the stuff inside the United States, where they can have all kind of clamor on the telephone talking about killing black folk, and none of them are arrested. You see how draconian the laws are. So, but here we have to look at this. My brothers and sisters, you understand what the Khawarij are, but the Khawarij are also these who are assisting government agents who are working against the Muslims, and they account for more Muslims being hurt than the Mujahideen groups put together. So be mindful of that. That's why I'm covering the other offshoots of the Khawarij that they don't cover, because they're heavy-handed. When you see them they're talking about Boko Haram. They're talking about the Dawla Islamiyah. They're talking about the Khorasan group. They're talking about them. Yes, they should be talked about, and you should be educated. But now we have so much on this. But what about those who are assisting the Muslims? How about those who have tricked the Muslims in unison, okay, and got them into an area and where they were confiscated up by disbelievers and put on private planes and have disappeared? These Khawarij did this because they went in as Muslims, tricked their brothers, told them to go to a house and, hey, we getting ready to have a barbecue, and all the brothers come from this one Jama'ah, and they come in there, and then they're all confiscated. They're all taken and kidnapped and sent to Europe, United States, and some have literally disappeared. I have proof of that because there's a lawsuit that's still pending to this day on people who have been trapped by the Khawarij, who've been turned over to disbelievers by our government and disappeared, never to be shown again. No one has seen them. Now, it's been almost 20 years and they haven't been seen. So these Khawarij are no joke, brothers and sisters. Those who come inside the masjid, who go to engage you inside the masjid, hey man, how you feel about Palestine? What do you think about this and that? Well, what do you see? They try to trap you. These are the Khawarij. These are the ones who like to make the Masjid Dirar. These are the ones I'm talking about today. So they get you on a taped conversation, and next thing you know, you're visited by two guys in a suit, either from Homeland Security or from FBI. And now you're in trouble. Be careful, brothers and sisters. These people are Khawarij. You should understand their mindset and what they are and what they do. They're no joke. They're no joke. They kill you in another way. The Mujahideen groups have been deemed Khawarij, where they'll kill you by bombing. These people here kill you by other ways. See? Okay. Their written code is to kill Muslims while protecting and cultivating their relationship with disbelievers. This is what is very interesting. 99.9% of those who they kill are other Muslims. But yet, when you ask them to go kill the biker gangs or the Ku Klux Klan or the Nazi groups, or go after the El Harbi people, I'll talk about them, okay, the Crusaders, and go and kill them, they don't do that. They won't. They'll start to quote the Quran. It's funny, isn't it? But yet, when it's time to kill you or me, they go kill us. I mean, in a heartbeat, just without. It's like turning off a light. You see what I mean? This is why I said, brothers and sisters, this type of thing may be disheartening and distasteful to you, but you are a Muslim. You have to have a well-rounded education. You should be educated on these people, because we have many Muslims in the United States in particular and in Europe who are sitting in jail because of these people. These Khawarij. Be very, very, they're dangerous. They're dangerous. As you heard me say months ago in another class, if somebody comes up to you inside the masjid to get you out of clear blue, or they try to gain your confidence and they try to get you to talk about certain issues that you know that is a hot button issue, they may be from the Khawarij. Be very careful and mindful of that. Their written code to kill Muslims while protecting and cultivating their relation with disbelievers. With anti-Islamic groups, that's interesting too. They work with them. Criminal organizations bent on destroying Islam, they work with them. And they say they're devout Muslims. Miscreants aren't touched by them. I give you an example. You have things go on. I know some brother, I don't want to mention his name, who has problems in this arena. He is surrounded by the Tubab agents and by the miscreants. Around where he's living is drug dealers. There's fornication going out in the open, in cars, near the man's place. You have people with hashish. These people don't touch them. They leave them alone. But all the while, they send all of their power after him, this one strong Muslim who graduated from Azhar. Strong brother, many years, very, very, very devout Muslim, great student of knowledge. Brilliant brother, brilliant brother. and they go after him big time. But yet still, when he go out, they go after him. They bypass the drug dealers. They bypass the people smoking hashish. The people who are out there drinking and smoking and stuff out in the street. They don't touch them. This is what I'm talking about. They look the other way upon the criminal exploits. They are master of hypocrisy, the Khawarji are. There are many of them are hafiz in the Quran. It's true. They go to Quran classes to memorize so they can fool you and me. They're very, very good at this. They make long and extended prayers. That's one of the indications of them, not fully. When you see Salat al-Asr, say for instance, they're taking 30, 35 minutes because they're trying to show you that they are devout Muslims. And remember, you should not be, you have to be balanced in things that you do. You don't go overboard. You don't make a salat in 1 or 2 minutes. But yet that you don't make a salat that lasts 30, 35 minutes either. And this is one of their characteristics. They use ambiguous passages in the Quran. They will get something in the Quran, okay, like in Surah Tawbah, about when Muslims can fight other Muslims who are wayward. They'll use this particular passage to fight you and me. But are they fighting us to bring us back to the Sharia? No, we're already working with the Sharia and trying to work under the Sunnah. So why are they fighting us? But they'll use this passage to fight us, like they do why they formed the Masjid Dirar. They're fighting you inside of it. And they'll use this passage. So you ask, you have to have knowledge. You ask this brother, who is the Khawarij? You ask him, hey, what are you fighting me for? They're fighting you because they want to bring you to something. They don't want to bring you to the Sharia. They know you're operating under the Sharia. They know you operate under the Sunnah. This is why they're fighting you. And this is why, brothers and sisters, you must gain the knowledge so you can defeat these miscreants, these bastards. That's what they are. So you can defeat them. Many profess devoutness, but don't pray. Can you believe that? You see the Khawarij out in the street. Oh man, beautiful speech. 99 names of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is covered. Everything, alhamdulillah, all this and that, and he don't pray. And he uses the names of Subhanahu wa Ta'ala continuously. These are some of the Khawarij and their characteristics, brothers and sisters. Be mindful of that. They prefer to use violence upon devout Muslims. With the drop of a hat, they're ready to send themselves or others to what? To harm the Muslim. Physical violence is what they prefer because they have a deep-seated hate in their heart for Muslims. Essentially, they have a hole in their heart and they can't fill it because they can't do enough evil during the day to fill their heart. So they wake up the next morning hoping that the shayateen give them more to help them fill this heart because their heart is full of what they want to hurt. They want to harm. They want to kill. They have this deep feeling inside their heart. These are very, very ill individuals, brothers and sisters, and they will kill you and they will hurt you. Be very, very careful of them. They're there. They're in Philadelphia. They're in the ATL. They're in Dallas. They're in Los Angeles. They're everywhere. They're here in Morocco. They're everywhere. Be careful and mindful of them, brothers and sisters. Please. Okay. They articulate the fighting and terrorizing, beating, turning over Muslims to disbelievers and killing them is justified under the Qur'an Kareem. Brothers and sisters, this is why, again, you must understand Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's book. When these people come to you with this and they try to justify what they're doing, you'll be able to articulate against what they're doing because there's nothing in there that justifies what they're doing. You are not doing nothing wrong. Just because the disbelieving governments, especially like the United States, are against you because you are black or you're Afro-Arab. So they come after you and so forth to hurt you, to terrorize you and so forth and so on. And speaking of this terrorism, now we talk about the Mujahideen, but we have to be fair. Now, who is the biggest terrorist in the world today? Who has killed millions upon millions of Muslims with military madness from the sky and howitzers that they launch from 50, 60, 100 kilometers away? Is it the Mujahideen groups? They don't have those kind of artillery. They don't have that capability. They don't have airplanes. It's who? The U.S. and Western governments. They've killed more Muslims, millions, since 9/11. I forgot. I saw I think the Pew report. I was astonished at the rate of what they have killed Muslims. So who is actually the terrorist? You see, so we have to be balanced, and we go after our own, yes, but we also acknowledge that there's also terrorists in the Western governments, because they have been robbing, stealing, and enslaving, colonizing, especially here in Africa. And the brothers and sisters here lived under tyranny. That's terrorizing. But they don't call them terrorists. They only call people terrorists who have brown and black faces. Interesting, isn't it? The proof against the men of the Masjid Dirar is the Kufr Akbar, the Kufr Takdib. Here, the Khawarij implies disbelieving the divine truth and denying any aspects of the articles of faith. These, what they do, they have this. They have disbelieved, even though they'll tell you something, but you know they have disbelieved by their actions. This particular kufr here is the rejection and the arrogance with the pride and disobedience. They're so proud. And when you have uncovered them, you have blown their cover, so to speak, they proudly tell you. And when you start talking about, brother, come to the right way, they start laughing at you and so forth and so on. These are the Khawarij, because they don't believe there's a Jahannam. They don't believe there's a Jinnah either. And they'll laugh at you. And they have this arrogance about them that it can't be touched. And subhanahu wa ta'ala is scared of them, or that they run the subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me tell you something, and this is not off topic. A number of years ago, when I was having a big fight with the Khawarij and the Tubab, okay, the Tubab from the United States Embassy, the agents. I was having big wars with them, going to and from the masjid, fighting and so forth and so on. I mean, it was a war, a literally war. And when these people, come up to me talking about certain things and everything, I saw their arrogance and whatnot with how they acted towards me. And I had a conversation with him, and later on, he and I would talk. I know what he was, but he explained to me why he was involved in this. But this disobedience, and he said to me, he said, many times I would get up, I was like in trance, he said. I didn't know what I was doing. I would get a phone call from the Tubab. The Tubab would tell me, I need you to go here. And he was paid little money, but he was putting food on the table. And he said he was not thinking. He thought he was doing right. And when the Tubab was feeding him full of satanic verses in his mind, telling him, oh man, when you do this, when you go beat this old man, when you go after this black guy, and some even use the word, the N word, describe me, Tubab, Americans from the embassy. It's when you go do this NIGGER person, you're helping the government, you're doing this, and so forth and so on. He explained all this to me, and he was shameful because he made Toba, but he said if he tried to go away from the Tubab, he knew they'll kill him. Brothers and sisters, this is a serious, serious business. And it's low and dirty. Many of us don't want to talk about it. We don't even want to hear about it, but it exists. That's why I'm giving you this education now, because you may encounter this one day. You just might encounter this. And speaking of that, I'll give you the last part of that. When I had this one guy looked like he was from Jahannam. He was a short man with a weird looking skin. And inside the masjid, many times he would come next to me in a prayer line, and he pushes me the whole prayer. And so one day I got tired of it. So at that time I couldn't speak because I was new. I couldn't speak a lot of Arabic. I could only speak a little bit at that time. And so I asked him a question of why he's doing that. You know what he said to me? And I still ring in my head today. He said, here in this country, we tell Allah what to do. Can you believe that? This is the arrogance of the Khawarij. He said that they are the boss and subhanahu wa ta'ala has nothing, he has no command over them, that they run this country. It's not him. This is the arrogance. And further that, and I'll go on with the rest of this. When I had some running battles, when I used to go to another masjid, it was almost literally like almost a mile and a half, but I loved it because I run half the way and walk. It was good because I'm getting older. I like to run, and keep in good shape. And I started to have battles with these guys on the street, coming and going to the masjid and coming home. They would counter me on the street. And then one of them said to me one day when I asked him, I said to him, I said, why you fight me? I'm going by the Amr, the command of Allah. That's what it said in Arabic. And I'm going to masjid to pray. And he said to me, if there's a dispute between the Amr Allah and our Amr, their command, you must pick their command over that of Allah. This is what one of the Khawarij said to me. This is why I said, you see the arrogance and the disobedience. They said that their command overshadows that of subhanahu wa ta'ala. Hasha lillah. Yes. And I tell many people that, and no one laughs. Everybody only say, what kind of demon is this to say that? I don't know, but these people are so far gone that this is what they believe and this is what they say. They tell subhanahu wa ta'ala what to do. Or if there's a dispute between the Sharia law and their command, you go by what they say. Now we get to what these people are. Kufr Al Iba is knowingly turning away from the Sharia Allah Ta'ala and the truth. All of these particular, there's about 11 of them, take you out of the fold of Islam. Okay, out of the fold of Islam, from the actions, from the words, these type of things, not only turning away from Sharia Allah Ta'ala and the truth of Allah's commandments, deviating from the obvious signs which Allah has revealed. Kufr Al Iba is one of the aspects is this. Here I'm Yahya. Now I decide I'm now joining the Khawarij. The Tubab agent calls me up. He tells me, I need you to go to begin to spy without right, not on he said, look, this guy is a Sheikh Islam, and we want to interdict him. We want to go after him. And we need you to spy on this guy. We need you to follow him. Then the next day, we want you to go and push him in the street. This is Kufr Al Iba. You know that the command that this guy is giving is outside of Allah's command. You know it. You know the truth. And then you do it anyway by deviating from the obvious signs which subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed. He's never told you to go after your brother in this fashion and to take the command of the Tubab, of a Harbi or Crusader, take his command, and then you go and you do it. This is Kufr Al Iba. This takes you out of the fold of Islam. This is part of Ridda and Deen. You apostated from religion. If it's deemed, okay, since we don't have the Sharia courts today, this is why this stuff is flourishing big time, because the courts are not able to deal with this, because they don't even, many of the courts don't even have the knowledge anymore, because they don't even study the Sharia anymore. This is why this stuff is so prevalent. So when you make a complaint about Kufr Al Iba, about this guy, what he said to you and what he's doing, nobody goes on it, because we're weak. That's why we're weak. We're weak in the Ummah today. This Kufr Al Iba is obeying and listening and complying with an order that is direct violation of the above. Taking the heartbeat. The heartbeat is the fourth category. Remember, the fourth category of our relationships with disbelievers. The fourth one, you have no relations with him. He's your enemy. He fights you, you fight him back. These Khawarij take the El Harbi as friends and protectors. That's a direct violation. And there's many passages, I've went over some of them before, in the Quran talking about this issue. You cannot, especially Surah 5, verse 51, subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it clear about that. If you are with these guys as friends and protectors, you are among them. You're not Muslim. You are them. working with them against the commands of Allah Ta'ala, listening and obeying their illegal orders, and perpetrating these illegal orders on Muslims. Here again, it's one thing for him to call me up and order me to do this and that against an old man, an old Muslim brother, to go after him, to beat him, or to go beat his son. Okay? His son is 17 years old. This stuff is real, brothers and sisters. It happens. It's happening now as we speak today. He's telling me to do this. The minute I go act on this, this is where the Kufr Al. Yes, I listened to this wretched man who called me up. Okay, and he calls me up, this kafir, this El Harbi, and he orders me to do something, and I say, no, I can't do this. I can't. This is against the command of Allah. You're covered, brother. You're covered. Even though you have been working with them, but now you drawn a line. You say, hey, I will not go and beat Yahya and Yahya's son, and I won't go beat his wife. I won't go run over his farm animals, or go over and poison it. These guys have them doing everything you can think of. It's horrible. And as long as you don't act on it, you're covered, brothers. But when you act on it, you're in sad shape. And I'll get to that on a verse of the Quran that sums this up. So we know that these men now of the Masjid Dirar who do this aren't Muslims. They're not. I don't care how they dress, how they look, they're not. Even after prayer, they profess their faith in Islam. They're making taslim in the masjid. Can you believe this? They're making tashahhud, then they're making taslim. But they are apostates due to their words and their actions. This is the Khawarji. Their actions and obedience upon the illegal commands are from the Al Harbi or outside. They're outside the framework, brothers and sisters. These are the men who habit the masjids, who go to and work under this system, working to form the Masjid Dirar. These are these people. Now you understand them. Now you have the basis to fight them. Now you have the basis to discuss this with your family. And those brothers who have encountered these type of masjids in the United States or in the Caribbean or in Europe or in Africa, now you kind of have an understanding what they are. Here is the crux. Verse 85, Surah 85, verse 10, Baruch. Indeed, here's what it says in English. Indeed, those who have tortured the believing men and women and then have not repented will have a punishment of hell. That's the Khawarij. Now, here we're talking about torturing. It's a form of torture when this old man leaves his house to go to make prayer and you come after him in a car, or you have people to throw rocks at him, or you bring thugs, some are tall and with sticks, and they swing the stick at him. They barely miss him. They could have hit him, but they barely miss him. Others show a weapon of some sort. These people here are under the wrath of Subhanahu wa ta'ala. He has hell waiting for them. This verse here, and if you understand the story, which I will get a little bit here talking about this is the Arabic here. And you look at what Subhanahu wa ta'ala says, inna ladina, fatanu means there's trials and tribulations. You are after these people. You indeed have tortured them. You have messed with them. And it's a serious crime to do this to a Muslim brother. It is a serious crime. When you see the wisdom of Subhanahu wa ta'ala, he still opens his gate of mercy by you repenting from this, from the Khawarij. And you say, I did all of this. I did this for 5 years. And now I can't do this anymore. Subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you beg for that forgiveness. Subhanahu wa ta'ala is so forgiving. He'd bring you back into the fold of Islam again. We know many have done this. So he's given you, even in this verse, he's letting you know there's his mercy if you're willing to come forward and say, I want to repent from that. Now, so in essence, these people are the modern day people of the ditch. If you know the story of the people of the ditch, you read the tafsir of this and you'll understand. The people of the ditch were like these people here. They were after the Muslims. They were trying to get the Muslims to forget about their faith and to renounce their religion. This is what these guys want to do. Why do you think they fight you? Do they fight you to bring you to the Sharia? No. Do they fight you to bring you to the Sunnah? No. They try to take you from that to bring you to disbelief. This is what they do. See, and when you talk to them and you understand what they're trying to do, when they use a verse from Surah Toba, talking about, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says we can fight the other Muslims to bring them back into the fold. The fold, not of kufr and shirk, but for if we have two groups who are warring and say they're mad at each other for something that happened. Okay, we had a famous case of that, which I don't want to get into that. Remember I think it was the fifth after Ali was rahimahullah, when he was killed. They had this disagreement between two groups, and so one was doing something that was outside. Okay, was not right. You have a right to go after your brother to bring him back to the fold. The Khawarji try to use this verse. They're not trying to bring you back to the Sharia and to the Sunnah of the Prophet. No, they're trying to do other things. They're trying to take you away from that. So they are essentially the people of the ditch. And the people of the ditch, if you read the story and you understand the tafsir of this particular surah, they are a hideous people. A man who professes his Islam today, the Khawarij, and he's trying to take you and me from our religion. So brothers and sisters, now you got all of this. The thing about the Muslim, his establishing salat, remember, like I said, is more than just putting the prayer mat down on the ground, and then you go to what can I say? You go to make your psalm, and then you say that you're Muslim. It's more than that, as you saw in the last couple of episodes here. It encompasses a lot of areas. And so this will conclude this, and I'm hoping that we all got something out of this and whatnot. And I don't expect many of us to be comfortable with this. How you doing, my sister? I'm sorry, I didn't see your comment. Salam, how you doing, my dear sister? B. Stanton. Thank you very much, my dear sister, for showing up. And so we are troubled in the Ummah today with a lot of calamities. And so we should be versed on this so that way we'll be armed to fight them. And so, brothers and sisters, I'm giving you this for your education and also bring you back to the fundamentals. And I'm hoping that this has helped you in understanding. It is distasteful. I know this, even when I read, but you have to understand this because it's in the Qur'an. The people about the Khawarij are in the Qur'an. The people of the ditch are in the Qur'an. Subhanahu wa Ta'ala is warning you about that. He's given direction even to our Prophet ﷺ, how to deal with the people like the Khawarij, okay? The people who are wayward. He gave an order to a Prophet ﷺ. He said, you are stern with these disbelievers and hypocrites, but you are kind and forgiving and merciful with the believers. This is an order from Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to our Prophet ﷺ. So this is part of the Sunnah, that we're supposed to be stern against these people. Okay, stern meaning and many other aspects. Don't go and be dalim. Don't go and hurt them. Don't go hit them. Now, if they come after you on the street, brothers, they start hitting you, waylaying off and they start hitting your wife, or they go after your wife in the street, your wife leave the house, and two of these punks who are Khawarij are sent by the Tubab. He comes and they go after your wife. No, you deal with them. We're not talking about the situation like this, or your son, they go surround your son, and you see this on the street. You go deal with them. We're not talking about a situation like this. We're talking about this going in retaliation. You have no right to retaliate against them, even though we know they're evil. I see them out on the street. I know who they are, but I don't go after them until they come after me. When they come after me, then I fight them back. This is what you have to do. And you're covered by subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because remember something. The Prophet ﷺ told the Muslims, he gave us an order, don't seek confrontation and war. You see what he says, how this good wisdom. Why? Because when you begin to seek it, the devil begins to enter in and you begin to do things and you go overboard. That's why we have to be even killed. So yes, you see them, you continue walking. But when he comes after you, you talk to him first. If he can, then you keep walking away from him, you keep on talking and you move on from him. But when he grabs you to do something, now, brothers and sisters, you have no other choice but defend yourself and you're covered. And remember what the Prophet ﷺ said, when you have Muslim criminals, you fight them back, but you go and turn them in over to the police. You're covered under this arena. So that way you're covered with subhanahu wa ta'ala as well, okay? So I'm giving you that, brothers and sisters, today. And, you know, all I can do is ask that subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. And I said this here, this dua here, Allahumma wakina from Hadha Adu, this criminal. Allahumma Ameen Rabbi Alameen. So I'll end this with this and the words of Jannah. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.